Gala Games continues to innovate in the Web3 gaming space, and in today's video, Sergeant Filthy McNasty and I get a chance to speak to Wasif Rahman, Senior Manager of Web3 Marketing at Gala. With the future of Web3 gaming looking extremely bright, and titles like Spider Tanks, Miranda's Grit, and Superior all coming online, not to mention Gala Music and Gala Films, owning your own digital assets is becoming reality, and Gala is creating the platform to do so. Users enjoy the benefits of in-game assets as so much continues to work its way onto the blockchain.
I think when I learned about NFTs, something clicked for me because I'd just spent a whole lot of time in my life playing a lot of video games. I'd already grown accustomed to digital asset ownership in games like World of Warcraft or skins in League of Legends. So the concept of NFTs intrinsically made a lot of sense to me. And I also grew up playing a lot of trading card games like Magic the Gathering, Yu-Gi-Oh! And a lot of these games have secondary markets on places like eBay. So I think the understanding of things like rarity values and how that can affect market price and stuff like that, those are all things that kind of were fairly intuitive for me. So I think I got crypto pilled through NFTs. I really started, kind of learning a lot about them more from a video game standpoint than anything else. And my thesis was like blockchain gaming is going to be something that's pretty big over the next couple of years. At the time, you were learning a lot about Axie, and I think that was really big, but there weren't too many other quality games out there. But yeah, I think I was so convicted that I quit my job in influencer marketing. I studied crypto for like 2 months, and then I was able to make the jump to a Web3 metaverse trading card company that was building on Solana. I worked there for 6 months and did a bunch of NFT drops. And from there, I was able to make the jump over to Gala, and I've been here for about a year now.
Yeah, no, and you say a year, but a year in crypto, as we all know, is like 10 years in the real world. It certainly feels that way. Gala Games, tell me about what you all are doing out there. And I know, Christian, you're a bit more familiar with Gala and sort of what they're all doing, but tell me about what you're all doing, sort of bridge the Web 2 space into that Web 3 space, sort of bring it all together in a sort of nice package for everyone.
Yeah, it's a good question. I think with Gala, we're more than a games company. We're an entertainment company now. We've got Gala Games, Gala Film, Gala Music. I primarily focus on the game side of things, but over there we've got close to 30 plus games in development right now. We've got a few games that are live, like Spider Tanks, Townstar, Grit. Superior is playable as a Web 2 title right now. And yeah, I think we are taking a lot of our learnings on the game side, and we're now applying them to film and music and building out economic models that are sustainable there as well. In terms of bridging the gap between Web 2 and Web 3, I think we're firm believers in accessibility, right? I think a big challenge with this space right now is that blockchain it's a technology, and it's fairly convoluted for people to understand right now. I can't explain the blockchain to my mom, for example. And even if I could explain the blockchain to my mom, I don't think she'd be keen to go ahead and set up a wallet to do anything on the blockchain. So that's one of the areas that we're hyper-focused on. I think it's part of the reason we've kind of opened up options for people to pay in fiat. We've opened up options for people to not necessarily have to make wallets right away. More than anything else, to bridge the gap, especially on the game side, we want to have people be able to open up a game, get in there right away, start playing, and then worry about a lot of the blockchain stuff down the line once they've actually gotten hooked into the game. Right now, that's a big thing that's kind of on our minds. We haven't quite gotten to what that seamless first-time user experience looks like, but it's something we're in the process of building out.
Any thoughts on gamified Web3 onboarding? I know there's bits and bits of that with things like what Coinbase is doing, but really I would say that scratches the surface as to what the space really needs. Any thoughts on your perspective?
Yeah, I think so. That article was about questing, and I've become pretty fascinated with questing recently, just because I think it's a really interesting onboarding tool for new users, right? It's a really great way to bring in a ton of users at scale, give them some kind of a rewards incentive for completing mundane tasks like following somebody on Twitter, linking to Discord, etc. I think that the reason questing is powerful, it's because the rewards incentive is very direct and it's immediate, right? If you go ahead and perform a couple of these tasks, we are going to give you X, Y, and Z. And then you can layer on things like learn to earn, right? Which I think is what Coinbase is doing. And I particularly found that fascinating because early on, when I was just first starting to learn about crypto, I still didn't have the confidence to go ahead and go onto Coinbase and purchase a large sum of crypto because I fundamentally didn't understand what it was, right? So doing a couple of those Coinbase quizzes early on, I didn't realize at the time that I was effectively questing, but you flip through a couple of slides or there's a small video that plays, they give you some information and they give you a quiz. And if you're able to answer the quiz correctly, then they deposit whatever crypto that you were learning about directly into your account. So that's how I initially did my first, couple of quizzes, learned about a little bit about crypto. And then I think that was really it, right? That pushover point allowed me to then start looking for crypto information on YouTube and start listening to podcasts. And I think it was a really effective onboarding tool. And I think that type of thinking around onboarding, designing quests, designing learn to earn layers on top of quests, I think those are all great ways to really first educate somebody about a given Web3 ecosystem, onboard them in an effective way, and reward those users with crypto that they can immediately start using within the ecosystem.
I think that's great. I'm a Coinbase user myself, and the very first transaction I did on Coinbase, I bought Cardano and kept it on there and thought, okay, all I really want to do is see the number go up. And then I started to learn about yield farming and other things. And then I started to do some of the learn to earn tasks inside of Coinbase. And I still have probably 30 or 40 different tokens in there that I did the 4 or 5, chapter, learn from, and then got a couple of each one of them. So yeah, that was a great way to get people who are crypto native into that. I agree wholeheartedly. And I think the Gala's done a good job. I remember my first delve into Townstar, where it had that more feel of a Web2 game to me, kind of like I know that the co-founders are Zynga people, but it had that Farmville feel where you could get in there, you could start playing, you didn't have to own an NFT.
Yeah, and I think the ease of accessibility there is largely because Townstar is a browser-based game. I think a lot of browser-based games really stand to benefit from any type of streamlining of the user acquisition flow, just because you don't have to download anything, you don't have to get anything set up, you generally don't need a spiffy computer that can run things at really high graphics or anything like that. So I think it makes things fundamentally very, very accessible for everyone. And now if you take that a step further, and one of the big focuses for us this year is mobile, I think if you're able to create and build effective Web3 games on mobile, I think that has the largest potential for new user onboarding, just because if you look at the world from a global standpoint, most people don't have personal computers at home, but a lot of people have cell phones.
Yeah, exactly. Can you remind me again, what was the name of the mobile studio that you guys ended up purchasing? I know that onboarded like 20 mobile titles right into the Gala family as quickly as possible. What was the name of the studio?
So the studio is called Ember Studios, and they've been a pretty fantastic partner for us to work with. They're currently working on a number of our titles, and I think the two that we're really excited about are Dragon Strike and Meow Match.
Everybody talks a lot about Web3 AAA gaming and what's going to be the big title to bring the next million or 100 million users onto into the Web3 space. I know that you guys are developing Mirandus, and there's a couple of other big titles that are out there, but what are you looking at as being that one shining star that's going to attract people that are otherwise on the sideline right now?
Yeah, I think it can go one of two ways. The first option, which is the more ideal option, is that Web3 comes out with a very, very high quality game that's got a ton of polish, that is really just enjoyable because it's a high quality game and people don't really care about the financial side of it. That is going to really help onboard a lot of new folks into this space. And I think there needs to be a couple of considerations there too, right? If you're looking at the average user who has to think really hard before they make a big purchase, say for a PlayStation 5 or an Xbox or, whatever else that they're going to acquire for that year as their gaming console. To go to this user and say, hey, I really want you to come check out this game, but in order for you to have a meaningful stake in it, you're going to need to buy an NFT that's worth $2,000 or $3,000, right? You're never going to be able to win over those people with a game where, assets are going to cost that much. That's not to say that assets shouldn't cost that much. I think it's really finding the right type of game where, people don't have sticker shock just from seeing it upon first sight. We're all in the Web3 space. We're accustomed to digital assets being valued at astronomical levels, especially during the bull run. But we have to kind of consider that the average person doesn't look at gaming in that way. They don't look at gaming as an investment. They don't look at gaming as something where digital assets should cost as much as they cost in this space. So that would be the first consideration I make, just a very high quality game that really understands the average Web2 user and has mechanisms in place that were built from the ground up to attract those users. The second option of a really big game that could potentially onboard in the next wave of users is one where the earning potential is really high, at least at the outset. Of course, like the stories we heard from Axie Infinity in its heyday, where people in the Philippines were able to quit their day jobs and just play the game for money. Like those are the types of stories that were really just, forcing people to stop and think about oh my God, there's something interesting happening here. How do I potentially get in on this game? I think if we were to create a game that has a really, really sound economy, then that might also really help onboard a lot of users. A lot of these folks are going to be global audiences, as I'd mentioned, in places like Latin America and Southeast Asia and whatnot. But yeah, that's the other big potential for onboarding it.
Such a great interview, and the future of Gala Games is extremely bright. Make sure to smash that like button if you enjoyed the video. Also to subscribe to the channel, hit that bell notification. Head on over to A Canter Ganter with Sergeant Filthy McNasty and make sure to watch the entire video, almost 40 minutes of great Gala Games entertainment. And now I'll leave you with the entire 2023 preview of what Gala is up to.
In 2023, Gala will unleash the full force of Web3 entertainment. Games, music, film, brought together to deliver a more rewarding experience for tens of thousands of creators and millions of people. Over the last few years, Gala has partnered with some of the best game developers in the world, giving them the chance to deliver the titles they've not had the freedom to make. No restrictions, no predefined formulas, just the promise of something new, something built around players and their ability to own, share, and control interoperable content. Find your game in a world where wins are real and your favorite emotes, accessories, and skins can all be yours for keeps. Discover AA, AAA games with more than 28 titles in development you can find your go-to on a platform that's been built to support the next generation of gaming and the world's best independent game designers. The games industry will make over $200 billion this year. Those playing them will own nothing. That's why Gala has invested millions to create a new place for people to play. Powered by the Gala token and Gala's own Layer 1 blockchain, designed for the speed and microtransactions that a truly great game needs. Made for games, but perfect for all creators that want to change the rules of play. Maybe it's also time to press play. Earlier this year, we launched Gala Music. An industry as broken as games, music will be bigger as well as better on the blockchain. More control for artists, more access for fans, and a better experience for them both. Discover some of the biggest names on the planet. They're here and they're unrestrained. They're sharing their music and their success with you too. Discover music on Web3 as it revolutionizes what it means to be an artist, making it feel even better to be a fan. Come find them, hear and experience their songs in a way you've not been able to before. Our world is open. Our self-serve platform will let new names and new ideas break free. Join us and hundreds of artists as they take to the stage and find a forever home on a platform that's powered by and rewarding tens of thousands of people as it grows. In 2026, it's thought that nearly a quarter of the world will spend at least an hour every day in the metaverse. A metaverse can allude to many things, but at Gala, we believe it should be a social, fun, and interactive place where content, competition, and creativity can thrive. A place where you can build, play, and move seamlessly from one type of entertainment straight into another. We're now a space where film can thrive too. 2023 will see the release of more than 10 titles across Gala Film, from new series, animations, comedies, and documentaries, working with Web3 giants, industry titans, and well-loved names. Gala will reignite imaginations and the magic of the movies. You're invited to watch the adventures unfold, but you're also welcome to become part of the story. Experience film like never before, from production to premiere, from owning content on screen to participating in what happens behind the camera. Behind the camera and under the surface, a decentralized ecosystem of more than 60,000 nodes and a newly launched low-cost, high-frequency blockchain built by Gala for those who want to create amazing new experiences in our digital world. Welcome to Web3 Entertainment, a place where games, music, and film will delight on their own, but truly thrive together. I wonder, do you believe enough? Are you brave enough? Are you ready to make the leap, to take part, to be part of the future? Because we're here.